Hi, folks. So today we're going to look at a belief that quietly weighs down so many people, and that's the belief there must be something wrong with me. And it's a thought that creeps in whenever we're experiencing struggle in anything, any aspect. If we're struggling to achieve something, resolve something, um, then this thought will come in. There's something wrong with me. And when it comes to losing weight and getting into great shape and improving our well-being, uh, this is particularly true around weight, food, energy, anything. And it's that quiet little whisper that's saying to you, I'm not enough. I always fail. I can't be trusted. Um, so here's what I want you to hear today really clearly. There's nothing wrong with you. And uh, one of the metaphors we often use is imagine that there's a diamond that's been buried in dirt. For those of you that have done the lessons in LightMinds, you'll hear me describe it as horseshit. And it's covered in mud and it doesn't sparkle. But does that mean the diamond is broken? Of course not. It's still completely intact. It's still valuable. It's still perfect underneath everything. All it needs is for the mud to be washed away. Now, that's what happens with us. We get covered in old thoughts, old conditioning, old beliefs, things that we think are true. And those things make us feel broken. But underneath, nothing is wrong. So here's another analogy you can use. Think about static on a radio. Um, as I say it, I'm aware that today's radios have far less than they used to back in the day, and they're automatic tuning, so you probably don't experience it as much. But we all come across this static on the radio, and you turn the dial, and all you hear is the crackle and fuzz. The thing is, the music is still there. It hasn't gone anywhere. You just can't hear it clearly through all the noise. And these negative thoughts that you're having, I'm not enough, I always fail, I'll never achieve anything, they're the static. Your well-being, your wholeness, your strength, that's the music. And underneath the static, it's always playing. Sometimes we confuse the noise for who we actually are, but these are just thoughts. They're echoes from our past. They're not the truth of who you are. You're not broken. You're just buried under a misunderstanding, a whole heap of horseshit. So, there's one thing you could do. You can actually practice this. You could just and see what changes as you do. As you say something like along the lines, I'm doing the best I can, and that's enough. In that moment, that's it. Now, in the Light Minds program, we go into that more, obviously, but that could be just enough. In that moment, you're doing what makes sense to you with the understanding that you have. Now, immediately, some people will shoot back, and that's why, I go into more in the program. Um, but I know different. Well, in that moment, because we are controlled by our conditioning, you don't. That's what you're responding to. So when you say something initially like, I'm doing the best I can, um, and that's enough, that can make you feel uncomfortable initially. But just notice how your body responds. Notice how things can relax, how things can soften, how your breathing slows and deepens. It's without going too much into it, it's like giving yourself permission to be human. And we often don't do that. We expect so much from ourselves, really naively. To accept that growth isn't about fixing a broken thing, it's about uncovering what's already there. It's seeing things differently. So sometimes I have to explain to people that um, when you seek something, you're often seeking things that are outside of you, that are way out beyond you. But the reality is you don't need to change to go and get those things. You just need to see that you already are them. Um, so I often use Mark Twain's quote when I'm talking about learning, but imagine a child learning to walk. They stumble, they fall, they get back up. Would you ever say to that child, there must be something wrong with you? Of course not. You smile, you encourage, you cheer them on. The thing is, that child is like you. Every time you stumble, it doesn't mean you're broken. It just means you're learning, you're growing, you're becoming steadier. That takes time. You see, we think that there's a point in time in life where we should know, whereas the reality is there is never that point in time in life. There is always, always the opportunity to grow and develop. And that's when you come from a thriving mindset. See, there's nothing wrong with you. The mud can be washed off. The static can be tuned out. And like a child, you can keep walking or learning to. So underneath all the noise, you have everything you need. You are in the innate well-being. You don't need anything else. You're exactly where you're meant to be at this moment in time, too. Thank you very much.